Welcome to Behind Bars Blueprint, everyone. My name is Jason. I'm the founder and CEO of this organization where we seek to help individuals and their families impacted by incarceration from beginning to end and even beyond. Today, we're going to be talking about something that hits on everyone, and I think it's something that has been misleading for a lot of people, and that is why starting over is a lie. Let's get started. So why do I say starting over is a lie? Well, to be honest, it's dishonest. Let's be completely upfront with that. To be honest, it's dishonest, okay? You're not starting over. Everyone wants to think they can start by wiping the slate clean. It's just simply not true. But life doesn't erase your history just because someone or yourself may want it to be different or change. You see, starting over, it sets up expectations, false expectations. People are expecting to come out with a clean slate. They're expecting to come out with, relief and no resistance, and that's absolutely not what's going to happen. And then when they do meet resistance, they start thinking they're the problem. That also is untrue. What it does is, by starting out by thinking you are starting over, you are actually setting up a series of false expectations way down the road. And every single time, we've talked about this in previous videos, every time an expectation is not met, and especially if it's because it's a false expectation, you're going to get compounding problems as time goes on. And what does that do for a lot of people? Sends them right back to prison. Another reason that starting over is a lie is that the clean slate type of thinking makes people careless. I've seen it way too much. People think, oh, I'm a new person. I've seen a new way to do things. And some of that may be true, but it makes people careless. It makes people get overly confident. It's one of those things where if you believe that nothing is carried forward from your past, then nothing's going to feel heavy. Nothing's going to feel urgent. And there needs to be a sense of that. There needs to be a sense of, hey, I've got some work to do here. I've got a sense of urgency here. Not that I've got to make stupid mistakes and I got to rush into something stupid, but hey, I've got a job to do here, okay? I've clearly not made good decisions in the past. That's what got me here. I've got to make sure that I acknowledge that, don't forget that, and don't disregard that. Don't say, oh, that's my past, I'm moving forward. That's great. But you can't discount your past. And that's one thing that a lot of people do. It makes them careless. So the clean slate talk, not a good idea. Another thing this lie does is it robs people of agency. And exactly what do I mean by that? It means you have a role to play. Okay? We tell people you need to carry your past with you. Don't let it define you, but carry it with you. There's things to learn from that, very, very important things to learn from that. And a lot of people make the mistake of thinking, well, I'm starting over, so my life will magically reset. And that is not what happens. You have to say, hey, I have a past, clearly. And that past has defined who I am as a person up until this point. I'm going to go forward. I'm going to take what I've learned from that, and I'm going to carry it forward in a positive way and understand that it's not a reset on my life, it's a redefinition of my life. I've actually been doing this for a long time, and the one thing that I try to tell everybody is you have to understand something. Your past does not vanish. It waits. And we tell this to everybody that enrolls in this program, everybody that picks up a workbook, everybody that says, I'm going to take this, I'm going to commit to this. That's one of the things I try to tell people. I try to be very transparent up front. And I tell people, look, your past, you've been told a lot of different things. Your past, though, it will not vanish. It waits. And what do I mean by that? It's very simple. This is what gets people tripped up. You're going to get old friends. You're going to get old situations. You're going to get old habits, beliefs. There's things that are going to come up that were with you before, that were with you going through the part that got you into trouble. They're never really gone. They're still there. They're out there waiting. So again, it's not that it's, oh, I've seen the light, I'm a changed person. It's actually anything but that. You have to acknowledge, hey, those things are still out there. They're waiting for me. They're looking for me. And you have to take corrective steps, intentional correctional steps, to make sure that you don't wander back into that territory that's absolute quicksand. See, a big problem and the reason that a lot of people fail is because no one warns them. And that's what Behind Bars Blueprint is about. You can call it one gigantic, massive early warning system. And it is something that no matter where you're at in the process, there are always going to be red flags going off throughout this entire process. That's why there's a stage and a system for every stage of this process. And that's what is very, very important that people understand. It's one of those things where when people get hopeful, then they get unrealistic. And I don't want to be rude by saying that. I just heard a story, and I've seen this myself, where someone gets released from prison. They get dropped off. They actually got dropped off at a mission. All right. And you know what the advice was? Don't come back. That doesn't do anything. All right. That doesn't help anyone. That's not earth-shattering news, right? And it certainly isn't well, how do I not do that? So it's one of those things where when you get these false expectations going and then things don't turn out the way you think and things start getting ugly, people start thinking, oh, there's something wrong with me. I'm the problem. I'm not good at this, or hey, it's just my life. Or this is just what I'm destined for. And that's not necessarily the case. You are an outcome of the consequences of your choices, yes, but that doesn't mean that you have to continue to make bad decisions over and over again. I learned very early on in my own journey with this that growth is not erasing the past, it's mastering it. You have to accept it. You're going to get people that are going to throw it up in your face all the time. You're going to get people that are going to make sure that they remind you of where you've been and the kind of person that you were. And in some cases, maybe you still are, but that's not the goal. And that's not how you measure growth. If you sincerely, honestly want to make progress, then you can't measure it by your past mistakes. And trust me, there's plenty of people out there that will try to help you remember all the mistakes you've ever made. And most of the time, those are people who are trying to avoid their own crisis and chaos in their own life. So don't take that too personally, all right? You need to get a system, and that's, again, what I'm talking about Behind Bars Blueprint. You need to get a system in place where when somebody says that, say, hey, I've got a plan, all right? I've got a proven plan that I'm working on. I'm moving forward. I'm not denying my past, but I'm also not going to live there either. Again, another thing we tell people when they come out, there's a reason that your windshield is bigger than your rearview mirror. The lie sounds kind, but the truth actually works. That's all it boils down to. Reality doesn't need to be softened. It needs to be faced. You need to face reality of your past and face the reality of your future. You and you alone can shape it. It's not going to be easy. Anybody that tells you any different, well, that's a lie too. Guys, I hope this has been helpful. If you get something out of this, if you have a question, whatever, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, share it, all that kind of good stuff. If there's somebody you think can benefit from this, again, Behind Bars Blueprint exists strictly for this. We want to help people navigate the incarceration process, whether you're that individual or a family member of someone who was incarcerated. And we want to do it in a way that's honest from people that have been there, that have walked that road, that know the truth. Again, if you don't mind, guys, I would hope and really sincerely ask that you subscribe, spread the news. We're trying to grow this business and we're trying to grow this channel so we can help as many people as possible. If you have any questions, you can also email me at www.behindbarsblueprint.com. My email address is on there, as well as the phone number to contact directly. Again, we answer everything. So again, I hope this is helpful. I hope this is something that you can use. And until next time, keep the faith, stay strong.